Hey everyone, welcome to On Tap. I'm Chris, and I'm not an expert, just a guy who enjoys good beer. Now in this episode, I want to do a little show and tell of the very small but burgeoning glass collection I have regarding beer drinkware, since we have done a couple episodes on that. Think of this as sort of a pseudo part 3, if you will. And there are not a lot of beer glasses on the table. I'm really hoping to include more glasses into this collection as time goes on, but we're going to work with what we have. So let's get to it. So to start things off, I've got this glass right here, which is this is a tulip-shaped pint glass, and it's honestly the glass I use the most. It's what I drink most of my beer out of. And as I talked about in part 1, this is a very sort of standard beer glass. It's just designed to work well enough with most everything. Whether I'm drinking like a 12-ounce bottle of beer and you get a bit of a good head on this, or you're drinking a 16-ounce and it fills it all the way up to the top, either way it just it works well enough for me that it's really just my go-to for most things. This rather interesting glass here. Now for those of you who watched the part 2 episode, you might recognize this as the Craft Pils glass manufactured by none other than Spiegelau. Made in collaboration with Trömer, the German Pilsner company, and that is exactly what this is. It's a glass that was only invented in 2017, and as you can see, it's really thin, and it has this very interesting kind of curve right here. I don't use this glass a whole lot, but if I'm drinking really sort of crisp, hoppy Czech or German Pilsners in sort of a 12-ounce bottle or like an 11.2 ounce bottle, which is sort of 330 milliliters. This is a nice glass to kind of drink that out of. But yeah, this is definitely a specialty glass, even for me, relative to sort of my standard, my Old Faithful. This is actually not a beer glass. This is actually a wine glass, but it's a stemless wine glass. And for those of you who've seen some of the episodes where I sort of interview another person and I ask them about kind of what it is that they do. This is the glass that I prefer to use just because it's a single set that I have, and while I get it's not exactly a beer glass, I think it fits appropriately with the others in the set. So just with the glasses I have, I think having something that works a little bit better with a smaller pour, not a super small pour, I'll talk about these in a second, but smaller pour looks better, is just sort of a sensible thing to do. So yes, not a beer glass, actually a wine glass, but I think in the scheme of things, it works okay if you're just doing a 6-ounce pour and you're conducting an interview. Now, this is what I really want to talk about. My brother actually got me this just last Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving of 2022. And as you can see, this is from the Nashville Brewing Company. I don't know if I would call this a Stein. It sort of, in some ways, I almost kind of feel that it's not made out of stone, it is made out of ceramic. This is a ceramic mug. Nashville Brewing Company, 2022, Oktoberfest. But it's nonetheless a very nice piece of drinkware. Certainly it's a mug. At the minimum, you could call this a mug. I suppose it would be a tankard. This would be a ceramic tankard. And it's got a very large capacity, actually. Even pouring sort of 16 or 16.9 ounce beers into this only really go up to about here, but with enough of a foamy head, it kind of works well enough. So I think this is actually a 500 milliliter container. I haven't actually tested that, since there generally aren't a lot of beers in 500 milliliter bottles that I'm opening up and sort of drinking in one go. I don't know about you guys, but I think that having sort of a decent look to things, right? A sense of just aesthetics, right? You have like the nice pour, you get the foam sort of in the right place and the beer in the right place. There's something nice about that. If you have something that just looks comically incorrect, I don't really enjoy that to the same degree. So anyway, yes, I would describe this as, a sort of, at the minimum, a tankard, not quite a Stein, though. It's actually interesting now that I'm thinking about this. What is the official difference between, let's say, like a tankard and a Stein? When you get into the real specifics, again, given the idea that a Stein doesn't have to be made out of stone, you could have Steins made out of ceramic, in this case, or wood or metal or what have you. I'd be interested to see that. I'm sure there's sort of a Venn diagram out there. If any of you, consider yourself true beer nerds and you'd like to, make a Venn diagram or tell me in the comments, like what is the official designation between steins and tankards if there's not really a clear separation for a certain type of drinkware, and I'd certainly classify this as one of these. To move on to these smaller glasses, usually I use these for tasting, but I haven't really spoken about them. This one here, if you see, is actually a miniature size. It's a miniature-sized version of the IPA glass designed by Spiegelau. And you can see there are the little sort of ridges here and then the largest bulbous head. I almost never use this thing unless it's for IPAs that I'm drinking on the show, or once or twice I did a cider. I think I did the Stella Artois cider, I believe, out of this. So this is certainly the least used of my 4 mini tasting glasses, but it's certainly the most distinct and unique. And I gotta, give points where points are due to Spiegelau for designing something this unique. Now, moving on, I also have in the tasting set what is basically this is a Belgian tulip glass, right? You see it's quite round, it's quite bulbous, and it sort of straightens out a little bit to the top. This is something I really prefer to use for essentially what I'll just call the nicest quality beers. By and large, any sort of Belgian ale or any kind of really high octane, high strength American ale, like a high strength porter or stout or anything that's barrel aged, I'm going to use for this. It just, I think, has sort of the nicest aesthetic. And then moving on is this one right here, which is pretty much, this is like a Pilsner glass. It's not exactly, perfectly straight-sided, it's not footed or anything, but in the general scheme of, I think, glass design, this is pretty much Pilsner glass. Pilsner glass adjacent, maybe, let's say. It's just kind of a generic glass. It works well enough for things that are pretty middle of the road. And then finally, we have this, which is, I essentially would say is a slightly distinctive small version of a tulip pint glass, right? Obviously, you put it next to something like this, right? You can kind of see the same design in how these are fashioned. This one, of course, has a much more notable curve towards the top. This one, it's a little bit more subtle. Obviously, it's a bigger glass, and this is the kind of thing that I'll use for brown ales and sort of English pale ales, that sort of thing. Generally, not lagers, but not sort of the really high-end stuff, but sort of amber colored things, amber, brown, different sorts of colors like that. And that's the one I'll go with for this one. So anyway, yeah, I know, a bit of a short episode, kind of a random side tangent, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the glasses that I have, whether they are glasses that appear on the show, which are pretty much these, or glasses that I have on this shelf over here, but which I use in my personal life. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. If if there are specific glasses you think I should go out and buy. As I said, I'm always looking to expand my collection. And yeah, I'll see you next time.